What's up, everyone? I am Brent Gallagher, and today I am sitting down with Miss Casey. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
It's
So this
Wednesday.
is it's
Always
going
a
to
good day.
be always a good day. It's going to be an interesting conversation between the two of us, being very much into the introverted world. This might be like scratching your nails down kind of like the chalkboard back in the day. We're trying to get information out of both of us here. So, but what we're doing with these candid kind of little 10-minute conversations is just simply just let you peek behind the curtain, help you understand, hey, what's it like to be a trainer during the season too as well. I think the bigger idea is to help you understand that we're humans and we have struggles just as much as you do. This isn't just some kind of ideal setting for us if we haven't skipped a beat. So we want you to kind of understand, hey, what does our routine look like? What are some struggles that we're facing? And then maybe we'll kind of cap it off with a little bit of words of encouragement to help you kind of, just pick back up where you might be on your journey. So with that in mind, Casey, what are you doing right now to keep yourself healthy?
Um, full disclosure, I'm trying not to drink a lot. Um,
Fair enough.
I really love great beer, and it's super easy. Like, you're at home anyway, you just crack one open. So for me, like, being a pretty structured person, I like rules, I like boundaries clear. So I'm trying not to drink during the week, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, better. I'm not saying I succeed all the time, but I'm working really hard at that. The second thing for me is like kind of the social component. I walk that line, like you said, between introvert and extrovert, and I miss interacting with people every day. So trying to like make that up with like texting and calling and FaceTiming friends and keeping in touch with people, because that I am such like in a high touch environment normally. I
Mhm.
need that. But then we're on screens all the time and I'm not used to that. So then I feel super tired. And so also trying to reconnect with like the things that make me feel like me. Like, I bought an
Mhm.
audiobook last week and it's almost done already, which is a total me thing. And I've been able to like go outside and walk and just listen and take that time for myself also. So those are kind of the two things, is trying to be healthy.
So
And
it's interesting. So if I'm someone who works with you, if I'm a client or if I'm somebody else at the gym or whoever else might be listening to this, they're looking at you. You're saying, hey, you're a trainer. All day long you're connecting with people via Zoom sessions. You're working out with people. Isn't that the same as connecting with your friends? Like, you're getting that kind of interaction, but you're trying to say maybe, hey, that's not the same recharging type of connection that you're looking for.
yeah, to some degree it is.
Hmm.
And especially when all of this was new, that was like all I could handle. Like, there was one
Hmm.
day my girlfriends were like, hey, we're hopping on Zoom, we're gonna play games, do you want to come? And I was like, no. So the more like routine all of this gets, the more I'm able to be like, yes, like, we need to have those personal conversations. How is it going with my clients, our business, the stressful time, and just talking on like a less censored level. I'm not a very censored person anyway. I kind of think like one person who you see is what you get, but there is that like line between appropriate and inappropriate and personal. And so yeah, definitely talking with friends, and that's a big. I have a couple of girlfriends that I see every single week, so
Right.
that's like part of my normal routine. And even still finding a way to do that within the social distancing quarantine-ish
Right.
environment.
So if
Yeah.
y'all have been listening, if you've been tuning into some of the other episodes and stuff that we've been kind of filming with these conversations, is that you hear a lot of the same words being repeated amongst the team: routine, habits, structure, boundaries, whatever it is
Yeah.
you want to see. Is not to say we're a bunch of sticks in the mud, but what we've realized is that how you're wired there, Casey, how I am, and how a lot of us on this team are wired is we prefer structure to our day.
Yeah.
The chaos of what happened with the shutdown and our lives kind of being flipped upside down, all within a kind of a 48-hour period, we quickly went back to what we know gives us a sense of peace and a sense of security to go throughout our day, and those are boundaries. And we walk that way in our personal lives. We walk that way here at work, and we walk that way when it comes to our health and our fitness. Is how can we establish these norms really quickly? And they may not be the same thing as they were 24 hours ago, but you know what? As of today, moving forward for the foreseeable future, this is how we're going to operate. So speaking of those boundaries, we know sometimes that we're not the best at keeping those boundaries. Again, we have our own little kind of like hiccups along the way. You would have heard David's conversation yesterday. He was having kind of me time while the kids are watching Mickey Mouse Club, and Paul you know, he was talking about the same thing for you. You know, as you said, there's he maybe drinks a little bit too much, so he's having to set good boundaries about all that. But you know,
So you
it's
just
good to
hired
see that.
routine drinkers.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's maybe a good way to look at it. But for yourself, what if there's an area that kind of throws you for a little bit of a hiccup? There's a place when you start to struggle. Is it you run to the pantry? Do you run to the refrigerator? Do you run, you know, somewhere else? You know, what is kind of like the one thing that is a little bit of a struggle for you right now?
Um, well, I definitely mentioned like I like good beer. I also really enjoy good brownies, so that's been one. But interestingly, like the hardest thing for me getting into the routine is working out at home.
Hmm.
I work in a gym because I love being in the gym, and so I've had to like set up really good accountability with at-home workouts
Hmm.
to get into that. So to keep me from running to the brownies, I've been trying to work out at home more, just because after that you do feel better. Like you want to do
Right.
better things for yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
food would
so thinking
probably
about
be
that,
mine.
so think about that. Okay, so you said you say, hey, I'm trying to set up more of these at home, you know, kind of workouts, which is right now a good plug for avenuathome.com is our new
Right.
website. I mean, that's a perfect segue into it. But so you're there, you're working in the same place that you're trying to get a workout in, that same place that you're trying to socialize in, the same place that you've been, you know, for us, we've been shut down now 42 days here at Avenue. So you've been there, you know, for the past 42 days, nothing's changing. Like when it comes to like flipping that switch to say, hey, I do need to work out right now, like what's helping you kind of like take that step when you're like, the brownies are calling, a good beer is calling. Like what's motivating you to say, hey, I need to get this done today?
Yeah. I people
Yeah.
mostly. So I try to set like a day of the week for different trainers or different friends. And typically that kicks off on Tuesdays with Cassie. On Mondays, I'm like, let's just get stuff done. Like I have to kind of get my to-do list marked off, and then I'm tired, so I don't. So Tuesdays it typically kicks off with Cassie because she's not going to let anybody off of the hook, clients or friends included. And then Wednesday is like kind of a slower day for me, so I just know like that's me. Thursday I work out with Blake. Friday it's Paul. And knowing that someone else is waiting there for me is the best motivator. It also is just a good time, like we were talking about, like socially catching up. You're like, all right, I can handle that.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, if you're hearing this, what she's saying, she's set up structure to it all. Mind you, all these are all
Yeah.
virtual workouts that she's doing. She's
Yeah.
connecting with one of the teammates here at Avenue, or whether they're at their house or whether they're here, wherever it might be. But you hear that, and that she's found real accountability, and she knows the days that she's on. So she said, hey, you know what, Mondays are a wash. She's not beating herself up over it. She's not saying, oh my God, I need to go out there and kind of push through this to get it done. She's just accepted that, hey, you know, these are longer days for me. So I'm just going to say, hey, I'm not going to work out today. You know, she's not going to get all, you know, kind of in a tizzy about it. But then as the days go on, as the week goes on, she knows that she has this built-in accountability, you know, as she moves forward through the week. So that's kind of, I would imagine, you know, a good sticking point, kind of like a talking point for most people is to understand, you know, your rhythm to the week. And right now that might change on a daily basis, and forgive yourself. You know, it's like if you plan to get it done today, as Casey was just alluding to, is that, you know what, some days you're just tired and some days it's just not going to happen. But you just got to make sure that you know, kind of get back up the next day and repeat it all over again. So
Yeah.
moving into the last little question here is we're kind of like to ask everybody at the end, just for a little sense of motivation. I know that you're saying, hey, my motivation is that accountability that I had, but let's just say someone's listening to this right now. They were doing really well before the whole quarantine stuff. You know, they were kind of getting in a couple of times a week. They were starting to eat really healthy. And then all of a sudden, this whole quarantine season came and their gym was shut down. Their routine fell out of place and they threw in the towel. They tried it maybe a couple of times and they said, you know what, screw this. When everything gets back up to normal again, I'll pick back up right then and there. What would you say to that person right now who's just kind of looking for a little bit of sense of like hope and, you know, um, I guess some motivation, you know, kind of as they step forward?
Yeah. My go-to is always just start small. So because I do have that like kind of all or nothing personality, I like want to go full in. And most of the time it's too much. It's too
Mm-hmm.
fast, it's too quick, and I can't keep it up. So I would say scale back, like admit what's realistic for you. and do that. Like if you want to be a person that works out at 6 a.m., but you're just not, like that's okay. And it would be better to work out when is good for you. Take that walk, take that time to yourself, as opposed to trying to like force something, because I think that's when you get burnt out. I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, like we all do, and somebody had posted a quote, and it was like, paraphrasing, and it was like, whatever standard you're measuring your lack of productivity by, that standard no longer exists. Like that's
Mhm.
from a world that isn't here anymore.
Right.
And so I've been trying to like do that. Like beating yourself up about it isn't going to help, but making that first small step the next right step for you, I think is the best way to do it.
That's it. That's it. Small steps, be realistic. I think that sums it all up, just especially during this time. Because if you're trying to take too big of a step, again, like we said, tomorrow could change up completely, and then you're completely back off the wagon and you're frustrated again. So, Casey, thank you so much for just kind of investing a few minutes of your day, and thank you all, each one of you, for tuning in. As we keep saying always, we're working through the entire team. So if this is your first conversation, we have more of these getting loaded up on a regular basis. So tune back in, pass them along to your friends, and you never know that when you're listening to these things, you might have some ammunition to hold against us at future dates. So thank you again so
I
much
mean,
for listening, and we'll see you next time around. Bye.
bye.